Hello everyone, Jabel is back, and I know I'm a mess. I know my camera angle is off. I've been actually spending today shooting another short film and editing it, and thank you guys for bearing with me with these shorts. I'm trying to get better with each one I make in the realm of editing and filming and acting, hopefully. So thank you guys for whenever I post one, you guys are sure to watch it. And it's really difficult to make these short films and be very self-critical, and even when it's all done, still see so many flaws in the short films. But when I see a professional company put out something this bad, it makes me feel not so bad about my own work. I'm talking about the She-Hulk trailer that released yesterday, and it looks like the worst thing that Disney Plus has made so far in a long line of shows that came out that had fairly decent trailers. With the exception of Miss Marvel, all of the Disney Plus trailers looked really good. It was just their shows that turned out so bad. But She-Hulk looks terrible on every single level. Casting, writing, CGI. And if this is as bad as the trailer, where Disney usually does a good job of hiding the flaws, then just imagine how bad the show is going to be. And before I get into how bad it is, let me just say that it really frustrates me when you have an actual good character from the comics ruined like this. She-Hulk is a good character from comics. I have her original run where she was first introduced from the 80s. I have like this big omnibus of it. But she's an actual good character. She was, I would say, she was a gender-swapped character. They used to do that all the way back in the 80s, but it was back when they would put some more effort into the character. She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters, is Bruce Banner's cousin in the comics, and he goes to her to hide from people as he's on the run from the Hulk. And Jennifer Walters is attacked. Bruce Banner has to give her a blood transfusion because he's the only one close enough that has her same blood type. And thanks to that, Jennifer Walters gets the gamma powers of the Hulk, but with less side effects in her mind, so she still has control over herself. And Jennifer Walters, while she's a very mousy person, even though she's a lawyer, she finds the confidence she's always wanted in She-Hulk, which is why she prefers to stay as She-Hulk. So that's the basic premise of the character, and there's some very interesting stuff with that and some very interesting contrasts with what is the traditional version of the Hulk. But for whatever reason, comics have decided that She-Hulk needs to be a representation of angry feminism. You know, like the feminism that is the bad stereotype these days, that feminists are constantly angry, have an axe to grind against the world. The worst line in the trailer is when Bruce Banner says that her anger and fear will trigger the She-Hulk, and she says, well, those are just the two base emotions for any woman. And I thought, that's really insulting. That's not the base emotions of women. That's the basis of emotions for maybe weak women or even weak men, because that you would react to everything with anger or fear. That's a weak person's outlook of the world. And that's not what Jennifer Walters should be. She should be a mousier person and then become someone more confident. She's not angry with the world. She's not fearful necessarily. She's just more quiet. She's more of an introvert, and then she becomes an extrovert as the She-Hulk. So that's already a huge mess up. Every line of dialogue in the trailer just is awful. They're like, oh, She-Hulk, look at how fine your rear end looks, and it just sounds like I can't believe I'm using this dialogue. It sounds like a whine aunt, her idea of what's empowering. Like, she's in her 30s and she still can't find a good boyfriend yet, and now she's got people telling her that she's curvaceous and attractive, and she's sleeping around and whatnot. This feels like this sort of insecure person's fantasy about what an empowered woman would look like, and it just looks awful, and it feels cynical. Like, you wouldn't want to be watching this. You don't want to be around the kind of person who's so insecure that they talk bad about the world and they talk bad about other people all the time. And that's the sort of vibe this show gets, that in its attempt to be empowering, it's very cynical, and it looks down on other people, and no one wants to watch that. There's just so much wrong with it. The CGI looks like a commercial from the 2000s. This is the worst CGI, hands down, I have seen in the last 10 years. I cannot think of anything worse than this. It looks like someone's, someone's video game they did on a cheap animation program on their computer. I almost didn't believe it was real. I thought these are probably unfinished still shots that they're showing. No, this is what they thought was good enough to present to us, the audience. These horrible unfinished CGI pictures. I have a problem with the fact that it's not really clear what Jennifer Walters' origin is. It just makes it seem like, oh, Bruce happens to have a cousin who's also a Hulk. I have a problem with her saying that I just want to live a normal life. It's like, that was never Jennifer Walters' character. She pretty much accepted She-Hulk from the beginning and liked it. And they're not really portraying her sensuality. She-Hulk has always been a very sensual character as She-Hulk because as She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters felt very confident in herself, so she's willing to wear anything scandalous, she's willing to get with anyone. Yes, that has long been an element of her character, but when I watch the show, I don't get that confidence necessarily. I get the idea that this is a very ugly creature, because she's not attractive in the least, that everyone's fawning after, and once again, it seems like some very cynical fantasy some woman would have, and it's awful. I don't know, and we end the show on a note, and I don't, like I said, She-Hulk has been a very sensual character in the comics, so if you allude to that in the show to some degree, then I don't necessarily have a problem with that because it's part of the character, but also the Disney Plus shows have been geared towards kids. And so, I'm just a little bit concerned on how far they're going to go with that, with the implications at the end. And if it's going to be a show more geared to adults, then you need to be clear of that. But the show doesn't feel like something for adults. It feels like something cringy. It feels like something that's made for a very specific type of angry feminist, this exact same stereotype that you think they want to get away with, and I don't think anyone's going to watch it. At least people have criticized the show to the amount that hopefully Disney gets the message. They're not just blindly liking everything. I highly doubt most people are going to watch it, but it really disappoints me that I have been waiting for She-Hulk to come on the screen since Avengers 2012. And they finally got her out here into the MCU, and she looks like an absolute disaster. And I know Bruce Banner is also a character who's been messed up over the years, but I know that they're going to make him look even worse in this show. So what did you guys think about She-Hulk? I'm going to get back to editing my own video, and whenever I feel bad about my own skill level, I'm just going to think about She-Hulk. And they even got the wrong actor for the part. The actor is not charming. She's not attractive in any way, shape, or form. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time.